Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. I had somebody send me a link to this Gardiner Houlgate Specialist Auctioneers website, and they're having like this big guitar sell-off tomorrow. So I figured, hey, why don't we check this out together? Here's that they do ship, and it's a 20% buyer's premium, plus the value-added tax, because these guys are located in the UK. So whether they ship internationally, I'm not 100% sure. But this one goes up for sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. So let's take a look at these things. These are the only two that I've previously seen. So a JIMI HENDRIX VOODOO Stratocaster, those are pretty popular. I mean, that seems to be a very fair estimate, and nobody has bid on it yet. It doesn't look like there's been many of these things for sale from that original run there. And would you look at that? This place actually has halfway decent photos too. Okay, so it looks like we're missing some screws. It's got a little bit of wear, some hanger rash. Wow, they even take the neck off. That tells you these guys are professionals. Cool, so it looks like our body's dated to 1999, then 2001 on the neck, so that falls within this run. So even a low estimate of $1,500, that's about right. This one, I'm really surprised by their estimate as well. In clean shape, these walnut ones, I mean, they can sell up to about $4,500. Sometimes even more, especially if all the brass and gold is in good shape and you have the original bar. That's actually a really nice example. If you're interested in learning more about these, I did do a separate review and demo. Man, that's a really low estimate. They were expecting to bring about 2,000 USD. That's definitely going to sell for more than that, because somebody's already bid it all the way up to there. And you got to remember, these overseas guitars are usually worth just a little bit more because they're already over there. You don't have to pay quite as much import duty taxes. Nice, even one of those Moto Stratocasters. I did a rock or not on one of these if you want to learn a little bit more about them. I think, yeah, there it is. It does, it has the case, it has the amp. It's not so much fun buying the guitar if you don't have all that other stuff. Man, that even still has the original protective plastic on top of it. These are just so goofy, you can't help but not like them. Number 90 out of 250. Bird's eye neck, not my favorite, but you know, it's okay. Wow, what happened to that amp though? That must have got destroyed in shipping to them or something. That's a bit of a shame. So they're thinking between 2,000 to 4,000. Even with the damage on the amp, I think they're very realistic on that. Can't say I know too much about that Telecaster. Man, this guy's got a whole bunch of nice stuff. A 69 Tele bass, a 68 thin line. Those late 60s ones are usually pretty nice. I had an early 70s one. They're not quite as valuable as these. I think if I remember correctly, these weren't that popular back in the day, but they've kind of became popular nowadays, so that means the old ones are going up in value quite significantly. That's even got quite a bit of finish checking. This must have been like a serious guitar collector who passed away and their family's just auctioning everything off. That's great to see an auction place that actually does all this stuff, helps you verify it. They're probably trying to cut down on returns though, since this is online only. But they did have some viewing dates. Looks like we got a cool ES347. Ooh, Les Paul Deluxe signed by Les Paul himself. You know, if you ever see Les's signature on something, it does not necessarily make it more valuable. He signed literally every guitar somebody handed to him. It's always nice when you have some provenance like this, though. And typically he'll sign it, keep picking, your name here, then Les Paul. So having one that's just that actually does make it a little bit more valuable. Whenever an autograph is personalized is when the value drops a little bit. So I could see somebody really wanting this one. I mean, it appears to be in okay shape. I wonder if that was factory or not. You can sometimes find that factory, and that's usually because they made a boo-boo and they had to fill it in and then reinstall it somewhere else. But judging by the fact that that's been replaced, that was probably an aftermarket thing. Yeah, somebody swapped all the strap buttons here. So, pancake body, Les Paul Deluxe, how much are they wanting for it? It doesn't appear to have any breaks, cracks, or repairs. What, about $2,400? I think that's fair considering the signature and the condition of that. These gold top deluxes are very desirable, especially the early 70s ones. Ooh, that's nice. I think, what is it? Don Felder used something similar to this, and you also get Alex Lifeson of Rush. That's pretty much his exact guitar right there. Double necks are cool guitars. Try one out if you ever get to. I mean, should you really spend $4,000 to $6,000 just to try one? Yeah, I'll leave that up to you. But wow, it actually looks like this one got played. What on earth? It's like somebody chipped the finish and then they tried to fill it in with red and then it bled into there. Maybe this was used to bludgeon someone. Oh boy, I think we found the murder weapon. White finishes can discolor in weird ways though. Man, I don't like the headstocks on these. For me, when it comes to the double neck, it's mother of pearl or bust. I don't like the ones that don't have it. And that puts us within the 70s era. But the 60s ones are just so expensive. So how much do these guys want? It looks like we still have the original pickups, and 25, that's about what, $3,000? I mean, within the States, I could see this selling anywhere between that 3.5 to up to 6,000 if somebody really wants it, but realistically, 3.5 to 5. This is just the first page. Is there like a whole bunch of Epiphone stuff later on? Trini Lopez, that seems to be an okay deal. The John Lennon model, I believe, J160E. Not my favorite model, but I understand that it's very important historically. Man, that's got a lot of finish checking to it. I can't say that I pine and or lust over reviewing this model, but hey, if the opportunity ever arose, I would do it. But I don't really dive too much into acoustics because generally when they get so old, they need a neck reset, and I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And I don't know anybody who can do it for reasonable prices, especially that's local, so I think I'll just pass on acoustics until I can have a guy for that. But that headstock, that is beautiful, despite that one tuner being crooked. Oh man, a 295? Current absentee, that puts it at 45. I think these are about 7 to 10,000. So it seems like they're right in their range here. Let's take a look at it. I know I've told this story a million times, but I had one of these old ones. Somebody had converted it to Scotty Moore specs, and they're just fantastic guitars. I fell in love with mine. Oh, sweet. I think, is it the early ones that it says Les Paul model on them? I don't know too much about the golden era Gibsons, but I think I remember that being like a slightly desirable spec that some of these guys had. It's got some finish chipping to it, but all things considered, this one's in okay shape for one of these, because typically if anybody played this thing, the neck will turn green and it'll all flake off. It looks like we got a couple of side cracks and some by the output jack as well. But mine, somebody had cut a giant access hole out of it, so this is much better than that. Yeah, this thing's actually in pretty good shape. Cool, and if you don't want the gold top finish and the P90 pickups, you can check out the ES175D. You're going from Scotty Moore territory to Steve Howe. There's just so much good stuff at this auction. I hope somebody sees this video and picks this stuff up. If these guys were open to shipping internationally, I would pick up a bunch of this stuff. So 1952. Okay, it's not a very early one. When I document a 52 Les Paul, I want it to be the early one. We're talking unbound neck, and we have the screws for the bridge P90. That's the one I want to document, because that means it's literally one of the first ones made. This thing is beautiful. Now, unfortunately, due to the design, if you don't know, you can't palm mute these guitars very well, because they forgot to take into account the carve of the top when they designed these. And another characteristic are the tall speed knobs of these guys. I mean, look how much of that white space they got going on. As far as these early gold tops go, I mean, this one's just got some beautiful finish checking. The missing pick guard kind of bugs me, because I like the pick guards on the gold tops. But original case, I mean, it seems to be in okay shape. I wonder how the neck angle is. That's the other thing, most of these just play bad because the neck angle wasn't really dialed in. Your truss rod looks okay, but it's definitely getting towards that area where you might need to consider resetting it. That's a beautiful back. Man. How much do they want? Starting 10,000. That's about where they start nowadays. It's usually anywhere between 12.5 to 18,000. Even terribly beat up butchered ones still bring at least 8,000 because people like to convert them. Looks like we got a sweet Gretsch. Ever since I did that White Penguin video, I kind of understand Gretsch guitars just a little bit better now. So something like this does interest me. I dig the green finish. I would hate to have to review a green finished one though, because that would not take too well with my green screening. I'd have to swap it out to the blue. I don't understand these Melita bridges though. I need to get one so I can, actually look at it, because they look freaky to me. They got all these fingernails hanging out everywhere. And this looks pretty nice. It's definitely played with the hump block inlays. I don't know enough about the prices on these things. Usually these old Gretches are relatively affordable compared to, vintage Fenders and Gibsons. Yeah, here's 145, $6,000. What do they actually sell for? I'd have to consult the buying guide, I think, on these. But, it appears they sell around there. So opening bid definitely appears to be a deal on that. I got scared for a second there. Did another penguin show up? No, this is somebody's duo jet that they converted to penguin specs. Tell me more about that. No, it doesn't tell me much more. It just says it was a 55 duo jet converted to white penguin. So that means they would have had to refinish the entire thing, put new binding on it, find a penguin pick guard, get all the drum shell stuff. Let's see, how feasible is that to do? I guess it wouldn't be that bad if you found like a beat up old vintage duo jet for like what, 1800 to 2500, like maybe it has some sort of headstock repair. Then you pay some guy $4,000 to do it up perfect like a vintage one. I'm not quite sure how they did the headstock and stuff though. And what's going on with those inlays? I still have a lot to learn about these Gretsch models, but I never even thought about, converting one of the duo jets to one of these guys. Seems to be relatively fairly priced for what it is. Mando guitar. That's interesting. Looks like we got another deluxe here. Current absentee. Yeah, he's paying $2,000. That's about right. I mean, this would range anywhere between like $2,250 to $3,250. It's got the goof hiders, but as long as there's no breaks, cracks, or repairs, people will like it. Somebody's got a modern day Schaller bridge on here, so that's not original. That's a pretty nice top though. 3 pieces. Good wood grain. Looks like our pickguard has been replaced. Switch tip has definitely been swapped out, but original pickups yet. Nice. Oh wow, somebody even refretted it? Maybe this is a little bit more worn than I had initially thought. Somebody paying almost $2,000 today. I could see it selling for a little bit more than that, but that's still an okay deal for a player. I see what happened now. It was just showing us all the good stuff at first. Now this other stuff's gonna be like, blah. All right, so it looks like a golden Stratocaster, Squire by Fender. Ooh, nice. 95 base 6. What is this? This one's kind of ugly, but I like it at the same time. It's one of those finishes. Okay, for some reason it looked puke green to me, but it's more like a very tinted tobacco sunburst, like it's got a little bit of extra tobacco. I've never heard of this before. Burns? What's going on with that headstock? That's cool. It's like a violin. I know there's like the Epiphone scrolls that do it with the body, but a guitar manufacturer that's done it with the head? Just reminds me of those old T-Scos or whatever they're called. That guy definitely had quite a few of those, even a bass. Got like the Epiphone Batwing thing going on there. Oh no, somebody took it away from the sale. Couldn't have been anything too interesting. Looks like a Ibanez artist. What other Ibanez Yamaha things will we find? Nothing that really entices me to look. I think we've seen all the good stuff. 94 40th anniversary. Is that the one that has the little badge on the face of the headstock? Let's see. Yep. Now don't confuse yourself. Every single Fender had that particular year. As far as the way I understand it anyways. So if somebody's pried that off, don't feel bad. Kind of like the 120th anniversary inlay at the 12th fret on Gibson Les Pauls for that year. Still seems to be a very fair price. I mean, that's a nice color. That is an interesting guitar. Squire Bullet. So I've heard of the Fender Bullets, but I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. That's strange. Bridge humbucker with 2 single coils. Here's another one, 100th year Hummingbird. 1994 was a huge year. They had limited edition models. I think they did 100 of each. They really blinged those things out. But for everyone else, what you need to know is, all of them were anniversary models. It's a shame they don't have the serial number though, because I would like to know what day that was made. Because those Bozeman, Montana plant ones, they did not switch over to that 94 leading digit serial number. But they might as well be giving it away for $1,000 if nobody wants it. Wow, current absentee 21. I think someone might be a little bit confused as to what that is. They might be thinking it's like the true real deal. Man, that's crazy. That was just page 1. Whoa, 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 whoa. Excuse me? Is he for real here? Does he have a bullet base? This model, as far as I understand it, it's not actually supposed to exist. Nah, I must be mistaken. I forget which one that's called because they didn't make it and there's only like 2 prototypes rumored to be out there. Oh, okay, it's the lead base. They came out at slightly similar times. Yeah, here it is. This is one of those prototypes. I don't think one has ever potentially surfaced. a freaky weird thing. But just looking at all this stuff, if there's a local music shop and this does not get that much attention, I mean, they could really clean up on some of this stuff. I mean, the pricing all seems to be fair as far as the starting bid goes. You even get some Rickenbackers in here. Ooh, nice. The John Lennon signature Rickenbacker 325. I bet that'll sell for a lot of money. Now it looks like we're getting into the junk guitars, and we got 4 pages of this. Look at this dinky pink P90 SG Junior type thing. That is so disgusting, but I love it. I mean, it got so bad they started grouping guitars together. Encore starter pack. Ooh, PVT 15. What's he doing in here? That's a fair price. Oh man, now we're back to the Rickenbackers and high-end guitars. Maybe I was wrong here. This is kind of an interesting Les Paul traditional. So 2008. I would imagine that was a relic job. I mean, it's not the worst relic job I've ever seen. It's slightly believable, but not quite believable, especially at this part. You can tell that's just been sanded off. But that's like what, the equivalent of 900 USD? I'd buy it for that. I could see somebody digging the wear of that and still paying top value $1,500. Oh man, this whole time I've been forgetting about buyer's premium. You got to add 20% to all your bids, and then people also have to remember, value added tax. I think that's another 20% or something crazy. So while a lot of this might seem cheap and inexpensive, the fees will definitely add up. But I still think there's some money to be made on some of these guitars, especially if you can just go there and like buy everything out if there's not a lot of people showing up. Ooh, this is kind of cool. ANTORIA Woodstock Professional Electric Guitar. This is a 1-for-1 replica of an SG Pro. It's even got the big pickup rings for the P90 pickups, the top routing system. Oh, these silly copycats with their bolt-on necks. It certainly looks the part though. I mean, it's got the open book headstock, but I'm just talking the body. That looks pretty good. I mean, for $80, even I would buy that to make a video. Man, what are they doing hiding slamming Johnny Smith style archtop guitar all the way back here? I have never heard of this before. Does that actually say Gibson on the headstock? I don't think so. It probably just says slammin' or slaman. Who knows? Kind of like a L5. I mean, it's got the Super 400 mini humbucker there in the neck. That's a nice looking guitar. And apparently somebody wants it for some pretty serious money. They put a Charlie Christian pickup in there. That's worth almost half the value right there if it's a vintage one. I don't think I've ever heard of an ES300 before. I guess that's the 40s. I don't really pay attention to the 40s too much. That's got a nice top on it. So I'd imagine somebody had to have added that pickup though. Ooh, are we getting into some Dean guitars? I'm still looking for my high-end Dean Z or V. We'll find one someday. I know the whole play authentic thing has kind of run its course at this point. But that doesn't mean we still can't learn about vintage Dean guitars. They are pretty cool because they represent something very big. This thing, 240, 360. Yeah, that's pretty fair. It's got the case. Oh man, this guy's even got a robot. $800, that's about $1,000 plus all your buyer's premiums. So even at that $1,200, it's okay. It's okay. Not the worst price on one, but you can still probably haggle one on Reverb a little bit cheaper. Then remember, this is overseas, so those guys aren't quite as blessed as us to get so many good deals because they just don't have as much of a supply over there. He's even got recording models in here, both the bass and the Les Paul. I wonder, was this like some sort of a museum? I always tell people when they're looking for like their birth year guitar and they're born in like the early 70s, check one of these guys out. They are relatively inexpensive because people don't know how to use them. And most people want the regular Les Paul customs. And even one of these strange Casio things. I think Samurai Guitarist did a video on one of those. It was kind of interesting. Man, what is this? Spanish 6-course guitar. Somebody clearly wants it bad enough to pay $4,000. What's the story on this? It looks like you can string it up as either a 6 or a 12 string maybe? It's just a tiny guitar. There must be quite a story behind this. That just must be a whole new world that I have not even discovered within guitar because those things appear to be selling and he's got quite a few of them. Have they got any of the vintage Gibson classical guitars? I always thought those were kind of cool because Gibson's mainly known for their electrics, but they did make classical guitars. Nope, doesn't look like it. Come on, man, I thought you had a cool collection. All right, so let's see what the deal is here. So yes, it is a 20% premium, and you have value-added tax on top of the premium. It looks like they're going to charge you even more just for being online. Even though a lot of these things are really cool looking, there's just so much legal jargon in this. I can't find the information I want, and I'm not dedicated enough or care enough to read through it all. So I'll just leave this for somebody who's maybe local. I mean, there are some decent deals in here, and there's some pretty rare guitars. But I will leave a link in the description so you can check these out for yourself. And hey, happy guitar hunting. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.